Hello and welcome to the Planet Knit podcast. I am your host Sarah, also known as Silvani on Ravelry or Silvani_knits on Instagram. And it has been a while since I podcasted. So I think I'll start with like the life stuff section so you guys can get a brief overview as to what I've been up to and why I've been busy. One thing that I have been doing was obviously I got a haircut in December. I've been thinking about doing that for a while and I really like it. It's a lot easier to take care of and it's really short. Like you can see there's no hair in the back. So there's that. So let's see what else. Last time I podcasted was in like mid-October. And I think I would have been all set up to podcast, later that month. I've been kind of doing like a board game group on Sundays, and I try to record on Sundays usually. But I had been, going to the board game group, and then there would be a football game, so we'd stay and watch that. And then, it would be dark outside, and I was like, well, I don't want to podcast if it's dark outside. And it started getting darker and darker because it's winter. And right now it is 4:03 p.m. on Thursday, and the sun is setting right now. I can see it through the trees. So it's getting dark earlier and earlier. Now it's starting to get dark later and later because it's after the solstice, obviously. And I'm kind of babbling, but basically my point is I like to have natural light when I podcast because otherwise I don't think that the webcam I have does a very good job. And it's kind of hard to, sorry, puppies are playing. They're cute. Sorry, we have a foster dog right now too. Is the other thing. So, you might hear puppy noises. They're being funny. So anyway, I guess I haven't been podcasting, and I don't want this to sound like a list of excuses, but I've been kind of busy. I've been doing a board game group. I've been watching football games, and it's kind of been dark out a lot of the time, so it's been kind of hard to find it. Hey. Hey. Sorry, dogs. So it's been kind of busy and hard to find time to podcast. So hopefully I can find time again more often, since, this is something I like to do. It's something I want to do. Another thing that happened in November, which I'll talk about in the finished object section a bit more, is my sister commissioned 2 sweaters, and it was very, very short notice, and I only really did it because, I love my sister to death. Are you going to walk them? Okay. You gonna take the rent check while you're at it? Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks. Sorry, fiance, helping me with chores. Yay. So my sister commissioned these sweaters. They were for a anime convention, and she wanted to do characters from a video game called Animal Crossing, and she told me this in October, mid-October, late October, shortly after Spinzilla and the last podcast, and she basically needed them by Thanksgiving weekend, or before that. I think it was the weekend before Thanksgiving. So that was kind of a rush job because she needed 2 sweaters. One was for her boyfriend, her first boyfriend, who, as a man, and so obviously, has, more yarn requirements, bigger sweater requirements. So there's that. And then, it was also a really complicated design. So I'll talk about a bit more about that in the finished objects section, but that kept me really busy in November, and I was basically didn't want to podcast because I didn't want to take a break from knitting. I talk with my hands, and it's really, really difficult for me to podcast while knitting, although that's something I'm hoping to get better at in the future. So let's see. So I think that basically covers why I haven't been podcasting. So I guess I'll talk about a little bit about what I'm working on right now, knitting, and then at the end of the podcast, I could talk a little bit more about just other life stuff that's going on. So let's see. So what do I have written down here? One whip. I'm not going to show because it's like super difficult to get here. I'll show it probably next time I podcast. It's a temperature scarf, and the reason it's difficult to show is because it uses about a billion podcasts, or not podcasts, a billion colors of yarn. Um, and that's kind of hard to get out here and get like in front of the camera. And basically what it is you pick different colors for different temperature ranges. I made one last year. I might have shown it off. And then, what I've been doing is looking at the average temperature range for a given, or the average temperature for a given day, and which I can find on Weather Underground's like history section. And then I knit a ridge of garter. So it's 2 rows of knit across, and basically that makes a garter ridge. And then I have a lot of those, and they add up to be like just random colors, but it's basically a documentation of all the colors that happened that year, all the colors, all the temperatures that happened in sequence. So it's kind of it's kind of like a science project as much as it is a knitting project, but that's kind of hard to show off. The other thing that I have, which I actually do have out here, is I have a pair of socks that I've been working on for a while, and I might have shown them off before. These are the Nelderith socks. I think I started them in like August, and I'm just past the gusset now. Let's see if I can. Anyway, so these are from Knitty, so it's a free pattern. It's by, I think, Rich Ensor, and it's based on like the pattern inspiration was something from I believe Lord of the Rings, which is not my specific fandom, but I really like the pattern. It's really cool. It kind of comes to the cables kind of meet right above the right above the arch of your foot, so it's kind of cool, and there's like a texture here. The other kind of fun thing about this is that I'm knitting it in hand spun, which I spun over the summer. It's a 3-ply fingering weight yarn that is 100% Rambouillet. Rambouillet is kind of like it's also known as French Merino. It's kind of a short wool, and basically I spun it 3-ply, but I spun one of the plies opposing. So I spun one of the plies in the opposite direction as the other 2. So basically, then I plied it in that direction of that opposing ply, and basically what that does is it's supposed to add like a little more durability to the yarn. So I thought I'd try it. Usually short wools are not a good choice for socks because they're not as durable. So I thought I'd try it and see if it's any more durable than normally, like the normal yarns are, commercial yarns. Either way, I'll probably be really careful with this pair of socks and not really, wear them too hard, because I can destroy some 100% merino socks. I've had a hard time keeping those intact. So, and I have a sock cube. It's got cute little animals on it. So that's what I'm really working on lately. Today it's the last day of the month, so Happy New Year. But it's the last day of the month, and it's kind of my planning day. I have this today and tomorrow off work because of the holiday, so I've been spending a lot of time planning what I want to work on, and that involves some swatching for a couple reasons. And so I really haven't. I kind of finished up a lot of my whips last week during the holidays, and so lately I really haven't been making huge progress on any whips. I've mostly just been planning and doing some stuff that I'll talk about in in the needle adjacent project section, and also in like life stuff. There's some stuff there. So that's, how things, what I've been doing basically. There hasn't been a whole lot. My screensaver popped on. Sorry about that. And the dogs are outside now, so hopefully I will be less flighty and distracted. Um, so finished objects. I've got a list here. And first off, I'll list the ones that I kind of given away because I can't really show those. So you'll have to go to Ravelry and go to my show notes in the podcast group or go to my project page. And you can see pictures there. The first thing is Check Yourself Cowl. That was by a pattern by a friend of mine. It was a test knit. And I gave that to my mom because it's really not my colors and I don't wear cowls a whole lot. I mostly wear shawls. I would like to wear more cowls, but this just wasn't my colors. And I really love the pattern. And I really love the yarn, but I'm not it was kind of like a bubblegum pinky purple and like a light blue. And it was like 80s Barbie colors. And I was just like, nah, it's not that me. So I gave it to my mom. It's not really her colors either, but she loves it for some reason. So she has it. I think I talked about that last time I podcasted too, and how I didn't know, either last time or the time before, I didn't know who I was going to give that to. So then the other thing is, I just remembered that I forgot. Right now, my Metamorphosis cardigan is in the wash, and I did finish it. I finished it over Thanksgiving. They're finished object pictures. It turned out great. It's a little cold out now to wear it. So it's kind of like more of a fall, spring, summer evenings cardigan, and it's fingering weight, and it doesn't really go over long sleeves. It only goes over short sleeves because of the diameter of my arm. Because I've been working out. Yay, go me. But it works perfect if I'm wearing short sleeves, but if I'm wearing long sleeves, it doesn't like to, it bunches up and it's weird. Which is, how it should be as a fingering weight cardigan. It should be kind of form-fitting. But I don't have that to show off because right now it's in the wash and also it's cold out and I don't want to wear it. The other two things that I don't have to show off were the commissions that I did. So you'll have to look at the project pages for that. But that was one of those things where I didn't really even have time to take finished objects myself. I basically just shipped them off to my sister as soon as possible. It was insane. Like I was finishing up the last stitches of that. I met my parents to give the sweaters to my parents. My parents were gonna drive home to their house where my sister still lives, and she's 4 years younger than me, so it's relatively normal that she lives there. But she lives with my parents, so my parents drove down to Milwaukee where I live, and to pick up. We met at a cafe, and we met there earlier in the evening, and I was finishing up the last stitches as the people in the cafe were flipping the chairs and putting them on tables and being you guys have to leave. So it was kind of an intense evening. But I got them done and they wore them to their cosplay and that was really great. One of the things that basically the characters were Mr. Nook and Isabelle from the new Animal Crossing New Leaf. That's for the 3DS. And Isabelle has a little sweater vest with checks, and Mr. Nook has a sweater vest with diamonds on it, and I had basically done, there were too many colors involved, so I did Intarsia on the diamonds, and then there was an outline of the diamond, and I actually did duplicate stitch for a lot of that, and it was very time consuming. So there are pictures of that. I did get paid for the Isabelle cardigan. I told my sister was my Christmas present to her, and the Nook cardigan was something I got paid for. I obviously did a discounted rate because their family, and they get that. But I don't think that's something I would do again soon. In fact, I've kind of made myself a rule now because I've been taking on a lot of commissions and test knits and shop samples lately. I'm not doing that until after Sock Madness because, which is in March, March through like June, and I just I need to work on stuff that I want to work on for a little bit. I'm sure everybody understands that. Like knitting's my hobby, and it's been hard to do things that I want to do lately because I've been committing to so many things, which I also want to commit to, but they are commitments, and I have to, I can't just like if I make a commitment to myself that I want to knit something. I can then go back later and say, well, do I really want to do this or do I want to do something else? And if I make a commitment to someone else, you really don't have that option to rethink your commitments. And it's not that I regret doing it at all. It's just that I don't want to do that for the next few months. So that's kind of where I'm at with commissions. I probably won't be doing a whole lot. So hopefully that will help with, having time to podcast. Which I feel really bad about that I haven't really done that. The other thing too, and this is kind of a tangent, but we're still using the apartment complex's internet, and that's not really as good as they said it would be. So this will probably take several hours to upload. Let's see. Then, okay, so those are the only things that I finished that I do not have to show off. The rest I will actually be able to show you, and you'll get to geek out over. Hopefully it's not too dark now. One of the things whereas I talked about last time, I was doing Spinzilla, and I have a couple of finished objects for that. These are like there we go. It's just a single ply. It's from an art bat, so I like to do the single ply to show off all the colors and sparkles. That works. That works. Yeah, there you go. You can see that, right? Yeah. So, it's soft, and I don't know really what I'll use it for yet, but it's nice. So, happy that that's out of stash. I also did a gradient braid, and I ended up spinning this in two 50-gram skeins, because it started getting kind of off in terms of like one single was different because I'm not like super particular about how consistently I spin because that's part of the appeal for hand spun for me. But it started getting kind of off a little bit, so I just split it into two. See that okay? It's kind of dark and light. It goes into like a light color from the dark. Oh, it's kind of, yeah. So it's a 2-ply fingering, and that's the first one. The second one is more like a dark blue or a dark brown to like a light blue. There. So I'm pretty happy with how both of these turned out. I don't know if I'll use them. I think they would do well like for a shawl together, or I could do them separately in different things. They're both 2-ply fingering, and they're just 100% just wool. I don't know what kind of wool. It was. I didn't really even look at the staple length that much. I would guess it's like a medium length wool. I don't think it was a merino, but I really don't know. So I won't use these for socks. Basically, I don't think it's got the ply structure. Another thing I finished is this hat, because I got my hair cut, and this was kind of like an impulse hat, and I really love the pattern. Like I don't think it even had. It's the gingerbread hat pattern. I don't think it really even had that many like projects done. The orange there, that's a better orange. But it's like a really rich orange. It's showing up a little blue because it's winter, and that's how everything shows up right now. It's like the snow. But I really like it. It's soft because I used Haiku Simply Natural, which is like a blend of a billion things, including silk and alpaca. And I really love how it looks with my new haircut. So, pretty great. So there's that. And then I also made these mitts that I just finished last weekend. and they're the end paper mitts. And it's really subtle color work because I use two colors that aren't very different in like tone, so you can't really see it really well. I've got a better picture on the project page, but I like that subtleness in the color work because it's it's more my style than like a really bright, drastic, contrasty contrast. So I do have two mitts, and they're nice, and I like them, and yeah, they're fingerless mitts, so they're not like super warm, but the color work is super like tight gauge, so it's it's good for situations where you're not going to be like making snowballs, but you're going to be outside for a little bit, and you still want the use of your hands. I think. Oh no, I have one more. This is a sweater that I knit for my fiance, and I have better pictures of him. He's been wearing this nonstop, so it's kind of already a little like really fuzzy, and it's got like fuzz on it, and I don't really know where it's been, but because it's been anywhere he has. So like it's the Hollows pullover, and I knit it in, let's see, 100% baby alpaca. This is hand spun, the gray, and I got some buttons from my button stash, but I really like it. Like, it's really soft. It was mostly stockinette, so it's really not a fun, like, I don't want to say it wasn't a fun knit because it was pleasurable to knit with a baby alpaca because it was so soft, but it wasn't like, oh my god, like, wow, pattern, knitting. It was like, there's a lot of stockinette knitting. So it was, I mean, now look at all these pills. I mean, it's baby alpaca, so, I mean, that's expected, but Jesus. You have to get him a sweater shaver. I'm like harvesting a new, like, we have like an entire alpaca one. Ugh. So anyway, so that's expected because it's baby alpaca. It's not like I'm not unhappy with the yarn. There's Misty Alpaca Chunky, and then this is just like a wool blend that I spun. So it's holding up as well as I expected it to. Alpaca's, the way it's spun is not, it's very pilly yarn. So I didn't expect it to like be a bulletproof sweater. But it's very warm, and it's like very soft, and if it doesn't last forever, then I'll just have to knit him another one. Yarn is on sale too, so that was pretty great. Yeah. Anyway, those are my finished objects. So now I will talk about, I guess I have a UFO or unfinished objects section. I don't really have anything to show off there. I mean, my cross stitch I haven't been working on. And the other thing, I've decided that UFOs are anything that I haven't really worked on, or anything that has been a WIP for longer than 6 months. And the only other thing that really fits that criteria is a weaving project, which is on the loom, which is in the other room. And I'm not gonna like, I don't know, I have to take pictures, but there are pictures on my project page. But basically, like, I just haven't been working on it because it's on the loom, and looms are kind of not portable, and I go places and do things. So that's, slow but steady. I'm still warping it, and I'm warping with like 100% wool, and it's like a knitting yarn wool, so I guess we'll see how that goes. I'm not convinced it'll go, like, I might have to just be like, this isn't working. So we'll see. I know people can warp with 100% wool that is a knitting yarn, but knitting yarn is stretchy, and stretchy doesn't work really well when you're warping. So, and here comes the dogs, just a warning. That hasn't really been seeing a lot of love. Now I will talk about my Launchpad objects, which are my needle adjacent projects. One thing that I'm planning on knitting is Huron. It is a pullover. It's by Jared Blood. I'm knitting that for my dad for his birthday, which is on January 22nd, and I have not started it yet. So I'm not sure that I will get it done in time for his birthday, but we'll see how that goes. I'm usually pretty okay with knitting sweaters in less than a month if they're like worsted weight sweaters, and this one is worsted. It's like a worsted Aran weight, and my dad's kind of like on the short side, and he's like 5'5". So I don't know that I don't know that it'll go. I'm not ruling out that I'll have it done by January 22nd, but it is a push. So we'll see how that goes. Another thing that I have, little adjacent. Uh-oh. I had a swatch here. I wonder where my swatch went. I do not see my swatch. I see a dog. Kepler wants to steal the show. So, hey buddy, you need to get out of the camera. So, yeah. So, yeah, I'm not finding the swatch. That's weird. So I guess I have plans to knit Moritz, Escher's first name, whatever that is, MC Escher. Here, Matt, can I throw your sweater? There you go. There you go. Okay, well, I am not here. Oh, here it is. Okay, I found it. It was under one of my finished objects. So it's basically like tessellation. Like Escher is no, this isn't a toy template. It's a swatch. Might be a toy if I don't need the yarn for something else. But it's little interlocking geckos, and I normally wouldn't swatch because this is a sock project, and I'm like really good at socks, and I do a lot of socks, and I don't usually need to know my gauge. But I did a swatch for this because I am submitting it for a knitting, like a competitive knitting game, and I'm submitting it for along with two other patterns for a project, for like a long-term project. And the knitting game is based on Harry Potter, and this is for my owl, which is like an ordinary wizarding level in the movies. I'm not like a huge Harry Potter geek. I'm trying to get more into it because everybody loves it in geekdom. I'm more of like a sci-fi person than a fantasy person, so but I'm trying to be more friendly with other geekdoms. So I am doing this for my owl. And I got sorted already. Sorting was recently. I can talk about this more in live stuff. But I got sorted into Slytherin. So that's pretty cool. I'm really excited about it. Like in the game, Slytherin is more like, it's more like just ambitious people than it is like, and people with like knitting goals, which is like me. Than it is like people who hate people who aren't pure blood or what, it's not, there's less of the like Nazi element is what I'm saying. Like, I'm not a Nazi. That's quote of the day, I guess. But basically, the game is a little bit different than, I think the game lends itself more to like the actual spirit of the houses and not like the theme of Harry Potter, which is all the problems in that house. So anyway, I'm really excited to be in Slytherin, and it's kind of cool because this is like little lizards, and it's pretty great. It works. So that's one of my patterns. The other one I'm swatching right now, and I'm knitting Victor. This is also from the Op Art Sock book. So both of these patterns are from that. I won't say too much about that, just I'm swatching for it. I've knitted before and frogged it because it was too short in the foot because I took a lot of length out of the toe because I have a smaller foot than normal. But I shouldn't have done that because I was knitting at a smaller needle size and it didn't work out. So I had to frog it before, so I'm hoping this time it'll work. The other thing is I'm going to knit Yakov, which is the cover pattern, and they use like a long gradient for it, and I have a gradient, but it's in sock blank form, and so it looks like this when you take it off the blank, and I hate knitting with that squiggly yarn, so I'm going to try to straighten it out some. It looks really straight on the Nitty Knotty, but if I take it off the Nitty Knotty, which I will do because I tied it, this is what it looks like. Hold it still. See how squiggly that is? Ugh. So I'm going to soak it, and then I'm going to hang it up, and I'm going to put weight on it and stretch it out so that it is less squiggly. It'll probably end up looking... Screensaver. I need to adjust my computer settings, I think. Come on. Okay. I think it'll end up looking more like that when it's done. Which is still kind of squiggly, but hopefully not so much that it will mess with my gauge. So those are my needle adjacent projects. I have a lot of them because it's planning day. And that is all the knitting content. I would like to talk about a couple other things. One of them is I usually do like a product spotlight, and right now I haven't really been buying a lot of yarn, but I'd like to talk about my local yarn store, which is the Wool and Cotton Company in Greenfield, and it is awesome. I don't go there very often, but for some reason, whenever I do, they know my name, even though I don't go there, which I'm pretty impressed by. I'm not going there a lot recently because I have a lot of stash that I'm trying to work through, so I'm not buying very often or very much. One thing that they do carry is Nerd Girl yarns, which I'm super excited about because most yarn stores do not carry that. That's generally an online only thing. They are partnered with a couple stores. Wool Cotton Company is one of them. The other thing is the layout of the store is super nice. I have not ever gone into that store and not been able to find what I'm looking for. Because I have such a large stash, I have a lot of options in my stash. So if I don't have something I can use in my stash, I am looking for something super specific, like super duper specific, which a lot of times lately has involved a custom order. But since I've moved here, I've gone to the Wool and Cotton Company, and they've always had what I needed, and I've been like, whoa, this is amazing. Case in point is that when I was looking for Sock Madness yarn in February for Sock Madness last March, the only thing I didn't have was yarn for knee-high kilt hose, and they were looking for worsted weight, and it needed to be 300 grams. I don't have 300 grams of worsted weight in anything that's not reserved for like a sweater quantity. And I don't want to break a sweater quantity for it. The other thing is that I said before that I have a really hard time with, I wear 100% merino socks, like holes in them, like instantaneously. It's awful. So I didn't want something that was 100% merino. I wanted something that was superwash. So try finding something that's machine washable. 300 grams of a tonal weight, or a tonal dye job, or a solid dye, that is, let's see, superwash and not 100% merino. Like that has any nylon or is a long wool. And how do you even find that? But I walked in there and I found Nerd Girl yarns in the Brainy base, which is, I think, BFL, and I think it has nylon. It's superwash. It's a long wool, and it was a tonal weight, which is like or a tonal weight, tonal dye job. So I was like, that is fantastic. I couldn't believe that they had 300 grams, and I was so excited. So anyway, every time I've gone to the Wool and Cotton Company, had exactly what I needed. And so I think that if you're ever in Milwaukee, you should check them out because they're awesome. So that's my product spotlight, my punch. I'm not getting any money for these. I just tell people what I like so that hopefully it'll help you out a little bit when you're looking for yarn. Let's see, what else do I have? Yeah, I check my shoe notes. Oh yeah, mission control, administrative stuff. So today is the last day that you can post stuff, and honestly, by the time you view this, it might be tomorrow because I don't know how long this is going to take to upload. I recently tried to upload a like minute-long video and it took like 2 hours. So this is going to be like a 45-minute video, and I don't know how many hours it's going to take. It might be tomorrow. It might be 2016, which is the same thing. But NaNoWriMo, I had a cal for that, and there was a lot of entries. I was really happy. Thank you guys for posting. And so I will be doing administrative stuff like today/tomorrow, and I'll be drawing for the winner tomorrow. But this is the last day you can get stuff in, so do that. Or I hope you did that if you are seeing this tomorrow. So yeah. In terms of other life stuff, other life support, I mentioned that I've been doing stuff with the board game group. Right now I'm involved in 3 role-playing game campaigns. I'm in one for The Strange, one for Numenera, and one for Eclipse Phase. This is all kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, if you are wondering. And basically, the format of this kind of game is that there is one person who is like the game master or the dungeon master in Dungeons and Dragons, and basically they come up with a storyline, and then it's like a role-playing game, like a video game, or like something else, where basically you have a character and you play as the character in the game that is in that person's mind. So basically the only thing that that even like happens is that you're sitting around a table talking, and it's really great because you just like sit there and talk, and you pretend that you're in this other world, and it works out really well. I really enjoy it. So that's what I've been doing that on a lot of the days, like usually once every week or every other week, depending on the campaign, or once a month. The other thing that I've been doing before, and I kind of stopped this over the holidays, but I'd been doing a once a week Sunday afternoon like board game thing where we'd all get together at our local geek hangout, and we'd pick games off the shelf, and we'd go there and just basically play games. So I've been doing that, and it usually takes a couple hours, and then I get home and late, and then I'm tired, and that kind of thing. It's a lot of fun. I haven't been doing it lately because of the holidays, but yeah, I've been up to that. Let's see what else I got. So there was since the last time I talked to you guys, there was Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas, and just other holidays that I personally don't celebrate. I don't know that I even really like. I just celebrate Christmas because it's kind of like what we do around here. Not that like I'm not part of a religion that really does anything that like mass or anything like that for Christmas. I just basically like we open presents under a tree and eat a lot of food. It's like the American Christmas, which I don't know. I mean, if you do something else that's more religious, it's like great, that's awesome. But I personally just like to be with my family and eat a lot of food. Thanksgiving is kind of the same way. It's just be with family, eat a lot of food. Halloween, I went to parties downtown, and that was exhausting and amazing. I usually don't do that. So I guess I haven't even really figured out what I'm doing tonight, but I think tonight's even going to be more laid back than what I did for Halloween. I dressed up in my Star Trek costume. That's my new Ravatar, like my Ravelry profile picture, and it was pretty great. So that was my holidays. It was pretty relaxing, and except for Halloween wasn't relaxing. But Thanksgiving and Christmas were, and I got to see people, some family that I haven't seen in a while. And in general, it was pretty great. I hope yours were too. Like, I know this time of year can be kind of crazy. So I know you're not alone if you've been having, family drama or just a lot of feelings. There are people to talk to, and if you need anybody, feel free to PM me, because I know this is a tough time of year for a lot of people, but I'm pretty chill right now. So if you want to lay it on me, just go right ahead. Um, so there's it's the holidays, which mixed feelings for some people, happy feelings for me. Um, One thing that is going on right now in my life is that I have a foster dog, and we are hoping to adopt him if all goes well. He is a special needs dog. He has seizures, and he's on medication for seizures, and the medication makes him have some other like behavioral problems that are things that aren't so easy for people to deal with. Um, so we've had him for a couple weeks, and there are some things we're working through. Tonight we're gonna hopefully leave him alone for 6 hours. He has trouble being alone, which is the big problem that we might not be able to keep him because of. Because Matt, my fiance, has job and I have a job, and we have to be away from home for a period of time, and if he can't be alone for that period of time, then we really can't keep him because we have life responsibilities. We have to pay the bills, um, and 6 hours is kind of that magic number for us um, that we can work with. So hopefully tonight, it's New Year's Eve, so we're gonna go out. Hopefully we can leave him alone for 6 hours. We've left him alone for incremental periods of time up to that. The last time we went out for a long time, we had left him alone for like 5 1/4, 5.5 hours. So we have high hopes. So I guess wish us luck. Um, and so that's that. We're kind of hoping to adopt him to have a buddy for our puppy Kepler. The foster dog's name is Pluto, which fits with our astronomy theme. So he's a return dog. So we didn't pick that name. He never raced because he's got like a deformed foot or something. So, he was named by whoever adopted him from the track. I don't even know if he had a name before that. I looked up his like breeder information from he has ear tats because he was bred for racing. 3 of his siblings raced, so that might have been all of his siblings. But he didn't race. I guess he was adopted straight from a track and not through our rescue. And lived in a home for a while. I don't really know the situation, but he was returned. Returned because we never adopted him out. But our rescue, takes any greyhounds that people are giving up generally because greyhounds are kind of like an unusual breed. They have a couple of special needs that if they get adopted through they have to be on leash all the time or enclosed because they will run very fast and get away from you and not be able to hear you recall them. Even if they have good recall, they can be away from you before you know it. The other thing is that they have a lower body fat composition, and so they can't be fed as much as you would normally feed a dog, and then also they have to have a different kind of vet. Like the vet has to know how to anesthetize them because if the vet doesn't know that, they can hurt the dog because they don't metabolize barbiturates as well as other dogs. So we don't like to give them to shelters because the shelters don't know this. The people that shelters are adopting who don't know this generally. I mean, some might. But we like to go through the rescue because we can emphasize kind of the important parts there. So we will take dogs even if we didn't adopt them out. We'll take returns to, that didn't work out. I don't know the situation surrounding the return, but the organization I go through has had them since like August, which is a really long time because usually we don't have dogs for more than like a month or a month and a half because we don't accept dogs from tracks unless there are no tracks in Wisconsin, so there aren't any dogs that are from tracks that we have to request them from other places. Basically, we don't just get them dumped on our doorstep and here you go. We have to be like, hey, people in Alabama who are racing dogs, do you have any dogs for us? And kind of go through those other rescues in other situations to get dogs. And so we don't usually have a lot of dogs for a long time because we only bring dogs in as we have approved applicants because of some of the laws that are. There are some laws that are supposed to prevent people from puppy milling, but actually they also prevent people from like successfully having a rescue. Like you can't keep dogs for a very long period of time because otherwise they're like they just can't be in one place for a long period of time basically. So we have to move dogs around. Like Pluto has been in several foster homes since we've had him, and it's just kind of a just kind of a sad situation for him because he's been moved around a lot, and he had a home before. Like the dogs from the tracks, they're used to being moved around, but Pluto really wasn't, I don't think. So he has had some problems, but hopefully we can adopt him. We'll know within a couple weeks, I think. So there's that life stuff. I did mention that I've been doing. I signed up to do the Harry Potter Knit and Crochet House Cup on Ravelry. I'll link to that. Sorting just finished, but you can play along as what they call a not quite first year student, which is somebody who basically missed sorting and wants to play so that they can improve their chances of being sorted next term. I wasn't playing before this. I played other games like the Starfleet Fiber Arts Corps and Nerd Wars. I played those games, so I kind of have some idea what's going on, but there are some new things to me, and some things that I have to learn about because I'm not like a huge Harry Potter fan. Like I'm kind of oblivious, so I've been rewatching all the movies lately because I want to know what's going on. So that's that. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm kind of nervous too because I have a lot of hopes and ambitions, and I just don't know how much I'll actually get done because life gets in the way sometimes. So there's that. And then another thing I wanted to mention, in case you're interested, NASA recently posted a job opening for the next astronaut class. So yeah, my resume has been sent to that. If you guys want to apply, I think the requirements are that you have to have a bachelor's or higher in a related field, and they detail what counts for that and what doesn't. You have to have a certain amount of health, it's like sitting blood pressure under a certain number and height over a certain number. I just barely meet the height requirements. So I guess we'll see. I don't anticipate hearing about that until March at the very earliest because the job postings open till February. But I also don't have high hopes because I think I'm qualified, but I'm not extremely qualified. So I guess we'll see what happens there. That would be kind of exciting though, wouldn't it? I mean, to be an astronaut. I don't think that that's something that I can really ignore, being in my field and knowing what I know and having that ambition when I was younger. I would really like that if that happened. So, hey Pluto, do you want to say hi? Pluto, buddy, hey, come over here. Come here, buddy. He's busy looking for food. He just had dinner, so not interested in fraternizing. Sorry, I was hoping you could see him because Kepler came over here and you got to see his nose. It'd be kind of cool if you got to see Pluto as well. But anyway, thanks for watching, and sorry that it's been a while, and hopefully from here on out I will manage my time better and get around to podcasting more often. Hope that your knitting is going well, that your holidays are going well, and Happy New Year!